Good morning, Year 1. We are halfway through the week and it is nearly half term. So we're going to start with our phonics again and we're still looking at there. So what I want you to do is for each number I want you to write out the sentence, but where I've put there and there next to each other, I just want you to put the one that is the right there. Okay? So number 1 is my friend said that their car was over there. So I want you to write it out and put the correct there in the right place. So pause your screen while you have a go at that one. Okay, well done. And number 2, I'm going to read it out again and then I want you to pause your screen and put the correct there in the right place. So, the children have to wait over there to fill up their bottles. So pause your screens. Okay, well done. So let's just go through that together. So the first one should be, my friend said that there, so it should be this there because we're talking about their car, aren't we? Okay, so we can cross that one out. Was over there, so it would be this there because we're talking about where it is. Okay, so we can scribble this all out as well. The second one is the children have to wait over there, so we're talking about where it is, so it's that there, to fill up their bottles. So because it belongs to them, it's this there. Okay. If you need to just check those a bit longer, just pause your screens and then we're going to move on to the next part. Okay, what I'd like you to do is come up with a way to remember how to spell there, as in the one where it belongs to someone. So it's a bit tricky sometimes to get all the letters the right way around. So what I want you to do is, like we've done with some of our other tricky words, is come up with a way to remember to spell it. Okay, so pause your screens while you do that for me. Super job, well done guys. And that takes us on to our reading. So again, I would like you to go and get a book that you enjoy and read it for me. So pause your screens while you read your book. Super, well done. Good reading, guys. So now we've got some questions. So question number 1, I would like you to talk to someone in your family, or you could talk to a teddy, okay, about the book that you've just read and what it's about. So I just want you to talk through the story, what it's about, and just talk about what happens, maybe what characters there are. Okay, so just discuss the book with someone in your family. So pause your screens while you go and do that. Okay, and question number 2 is, do you like the book or not, and why? So I want you to give at least 2 reasons. So either I like the book because, and tell me some reasons why you like the book, or if you don't really like it, then you can tell me that as well. Okay, but you need to write that down in your books, whether you like it or not, and give some reasons. Okay, so pause your screens and have a go at that one for me. Super job, guys, well done. So now we'll go on to our writing. So we're still looking at Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, but today we're looking at a diary entry. So what does it need to include? It needs Dear Diary. It needs detail, so you might put some adjectives in as well to describe. Okay, we always need our conjunctions, and you need to say who it's from. So we're going to practice writing one together first of all. So I'm going to write one being Goldilocks. Okay, so we are going to write a diary entry. So I'll say Dear Diary. Okay, but remember, now I've left out the capital for diary there, but because we're using it as a name, it needs a capital. Okay, so Dear Diary. I'm going to start it with this morning. Okay, because remember we need detail, so I'm saying when it happened. This morning, I went for a walk and found an empty house. I went inside and found 3 bowls of yummy porridge. Okay, so I've got my adjective there. I've got yummy porridge. Okay, but I could probably put some more adjectives in. So I could say, and I found 3 We could say 3 stripy bowls of yummy porridge. Okay, and then I might say I tried all of them, but the smaller porridge was my favourite because it wasn't too hot or too cold. Okay, then I might say, then I went to sit down. Okay, and then I might talk about the chairs and use some adjectives there about the chairs being too hard or too soft. Okay, and I'll finish off my diary entry, and then I'm going to end from Goldilocks. Okay, so remember, you're talking, it's quite casual, isn't it? It's quite a chatty thing you're writing. It's just to your diary, isn't it? It's a personal thing. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. I've got, dear diary, this morning I went for a walk and found an empty house. I went inside and found 3 stripy bowls of yummy porridge. I tried all of them, but the smaller porridge was my favourite because it wasn't too hot or too cold. Okay, and then we'll finish that off, and then you'd end it with from Goldilocks. Okay, so today I'd like you to write a diary entry from Baby Bear. Okay, so remember to think about how he feels about what's happened. So this is after Goldilocks has been in the house. So think about how he might feel and how you're going to write that down. And remember to use lots of adjectives and conjunctions. Okay, and remember to always look at our sentence checklist to make sure you've got all of these lovely things. Okay, so pause your screen and have a go at writing a diary entry from Baby Bear. Okay, super job, guys. Well done. I can't wait to see some of those. So that takes us to our maths. So firstly, we've got our challenge cards for today. So I'm going to read it out for you. There are 2 gloves for each coat. How many gloves will there be if there are 9 coats? Can you find a way to prove your answer? So pause your screens while you have a go at having a go at that one. Fab job, guys. Well done. So I'm going to give you the answer. The answer is there will be 18 gloves. Okay, and I'm sure you've all shown that in a different way. You might have done a drawing, or you might have counted up in 2s. Okay, or you might have done your multiplication, your timesing. Okay, so you'll have to show me how you've worked that out. Okay, the next one is if you invite 53 people to a party and 24 of them say they can't come, how many people will be at the party? Okay, so again, pause your screens and work that out for me. Super job, guys. Well done. So what you might have done, so what we start with is we had invited 53 people. Okay, so that's how many people we'd invited to start with. 24 of them can't come, so 24 of these people won't be at the party, so we're going to take away those 24. So it's a subtraction, isn't it? Okay. So then, how many people will be at the party? How many people are left? You should have got 29. Now, you might have used a number line, you might have used some objects. Okay, it's a bit of a long one, a bit of a tricky one, but that's what you should have got, so well done. Okay, so we're going to go on to our fractions again for today. So firstly, just as a quick warm-up, I want you to have a look at the shapes on the screen. Some of them show a quarter of an amount, okay, and some of them don't. So I want you to pause your screen and see if you can point to which ones show a quarter and which ones do not. Okay, off you go. Pause your screens. Okay, super job, guys. So we'll go through this together. So remember, when there's a quarter of an amount, the object will be split into 4 equal parts, okay? And if it's just 1 quarter that's filled out, then one of those parts will be coloured in. So let's have a look at this one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal parts, okay? So that is not quarters. we've got 1 out of 6 coloured in, so that one is not a quarter. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got our 4 equal parts and one of them is coloured in. So we've got 1 quarter, so that is right. Again here we've got our 4 equal parts and we've just got one of them coloured in here, so that shows a quarter. Here we've got our 4 equal parts but 3 of them are coloured in, okay, so that is wrong, that is not a quarter, unless it said the white bit is what we're looking at, but in this case it's the coloured bit that's showing it, so that is wrong. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and one of them is coloured in, so we've got 1 equal part out of 4, so that is showing a quarter. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 parts and one's coloured in, but why doesn't that show a quarter? It's because the parts are not equal, okay, so that is wrong. Here we've got 1, 2, 3 parts, so that can't show a quarter because we've only got 3 equal parts. And here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts, but 2 of them are coloured in, okay, so that would actually be a half, okay, so that's how we would show a half, but that is half because half of the square is coloured in, okay, but that is not showing a quarter, so that is wrong. Okay, so we're going to have a go at working some of these out together. So we're going to share the apples between the children. So we've got 4 children here and we've got 4 apples. So the apples are split into something equal parts. Now we know that there's 4 children, so we're going to split it between 4. So we're splitting the apples into 4 equal parts. Okay. Now have a look at how many apples there are. If we split these between the children, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 apples. Okay. So 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you and 1 for you, and that's all of our apples gone. So how many apples does each child get? They only get 1. So there is only 1 apple in each part. Okay, so that means that a quarter of 4, because we started with 4 parts, 4 children is 4 equal parts, and they each get 1 apple. So a quarter of 4 is 1. Okay, let's have another go. So this time, okay, we've got some more apples, but the apples are still being split into 4 equal parts because we've still got 4 children. Okay, so we're still splitting it between 4. So we're going to split the apples into each part. So this girl will have 1. Okay, this boy has 1. This boy has 1 and that girl has 1. So that is one group of apples we've given away. So each of them has got 1. We've got some more. So we're going to give 1 to the girl, 1 to the boy, 1 to the other boy and 1 to the girl. So that's another group of apples. So they've got 1 apple, they've got 2 apples, and let's do the last one. So 1 for the girl, 1 for the boy, 1 for the other boy, and 1 for the girl. Okay, so we've got 3 lots of apples. So each child will get 3 apples. So in each part there are 3 apples. Okay, so a quarter of 12, because we started with 12 apples, okay, and each child gets a quarter of the apples. So a quarter of 12 is 3, just like we've got here. Okay, so it's always split into 4 equal parts because we've got 4 children. Then we work out how many apples each child gets, and that shows us what a quarter is. So you'll do it, you've got the same question but with a different number of apples. So pause your screens and have a go at that one for me. Super job, guys. So you should have written down that the apples are split into 4 equal parts. You should have said that there are 2 apples in each part and that a quarter of 8 is 2. Okay, well done. So our security today is, I have 16 apples. If I give 4 to Dan, he will have a quarter. Do you agree and explain why? Okay, and then if you want an extra challenge afterwards, you can do, would this always be true for different amounts? Okay, so pause your screens and have a go at working that out for me. Okay, well done, guys. So you might have drawn a picture to help you work it out, or you might have used some objects, okay, but you should have said that you do agree, okay, because if there's 16 apples altogether and Dan has 4, 4 is a quarter of 16, okay, so you should have said yes, you agree with that, and you could have explained why. And then, would this always be true for different amounts? So no, it wouldn't, because if you had 20 apples and you gave 4 to Dan, then he wouldn't have a quarter, okay, because it's not the same thing. Okay, and we've got another few examples, so you don't have to write any of this down, it's just for you to watch and listen, because then you're going to have something like this for your deepen it. Okay, so I have some cherries. I have a group of cherries. A quarter of the amount of cherries I've got is 2. How many cherries did I start with? So to work this out, what we could do is we could draw our cherries to start with. So we've got 2, we know we've got 2 cherries, okay, and that is a quarter of how many we've got all together. Okay, so we know that that is 1 part. How many parts should we have when we're looking at quarters? We should have 4, so that's 1 part. Okay, so now we need 3 more so that we've got 4 together. So here's another part of 2 cherries. Okay, that's 1 part, that's 2 parts. 3 parts. And we need 1 more to make 4 parts. Okay, so now we've got 4 parts of our cherries, and a quarter, which is 1 part, is 2. So how many cherries did I start with? We can count them up now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we started with 8 cherries. Or if you wanted to be really super clever, you could count up in your multiples. So we could say 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so we've got another one here. I have some cherries. A quarter of my amount of cherries is 3. Okay, so let's draw our 3 here. Okay, that is a quarter. So we've got 1 part here. How many more parts do we need to make the whole? We need another 3. So let me draw 3 more groups of cherries. 1, 2, 3. So that's another part. 1, 2, 3. That's another part, and then we need 1 more part to make our 4th part. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, how many cherries did I start with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I started with 12 cherries, and a quarter of 12 is 3. Okay, so you're deep in it. It's not about cherries, but it's very similar. Alex has some pencils. 1 quarter of them are in this pot. So in the pot there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so how many pencils does she have in total? And explain how you know. So a quarter of something is 5. So we've got 5 here. 5 is a quarter. Okay, a quarter, so let's write that here. So 1 quarter is 5. But we need to know how much all of it is, how much we've got all together, which you need to write down. Okay, so have a go at that one and pause your screen for me. Okay, super job. So you should have got 20. Okay, your answer should have been 20. And then I'd love to see if you've explained how you know that and what you've written for that, okay? So that is the end of our learning video for today. So well done, guys. Don't forget to send me all of your work and activities, and I will see you tomorrow.